Again, he said he would pave Buckner Road 3 months after he had been installed as the material. The problem is the material that they use. I talked to Mr. Solomon, the commissioner. I talked with his supported one, and they have yet had anyone to come back to allocate resources for that. As I see Mr. Amir Bawoki, he knows about it. Mr. Amos, as I said, when he was the Transportation Committee chairman for 2 years, I brought this up. And we hadn't yet got anyone to address that. But now, as a brother that been living in this city for about 30-something plus years, and we have seen services being allocated, if it's not north of Atlanta, we've seen services being allocated in these sorority fraternity member communities, most often than in the areas on Camden Road, south side of Camden. But on the north side of Camden, Niska Lake, Danforth Road, New Hope Road, where the mayor lives, they put services there just like Santa Claus. So I want to ask you today, as I gave you that City of Atlanta list, what happened in 2017, they're supposed to have paved Tail Road on Fairburn, coming to Buckner. They did not do that. They didn't even Microsoft it. It was said that they would pave it and get it did. Because my road was paved in 2010, as you see what I said, sidewalk, curb, striping. So what about looking to that again, Mr. Amos, and I appreciate it. And much thanks to you. I greet you in the words of peace and paradise in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum, Ashe, Ashe, Mayat Hotel.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Mr. Chris Curley.
Thank you, council members. I'm here today representing the Beltline Rail Now group in support of implementing the Beltline Rail Transit Vision and the project as originally intended, as originally envisioned. I'd ask you all to consider that following through on the original vision of the Beltline as a public transit corridor is not a poor use of taxpayer money, as you are hearing from some of your constituents. This is perhaps the most effective, efficient, sustainably oriented, future-oriented city-building tool that you all will ever have in your hands, ever in your careers. I don't see any vision, any project that is bigger than the loop that will connect with rail, will connect 45 neighborhoods. It will connect within walking distance of 6 existing MARTA rail stations and 4 proposed MARTA rail stations if the mayor's vision comes to pass. It will connect directly to those. It will connect within walking distance of dozens of MARTA bus stops. This is the vision. This is the system that's going to weave, this is the loop that's going to weave the entire transit system together into a coherent, accessible, usable, user-friendly system. Unlike some of the alternatives, we've heard talk about micromobility as an alternative. Well, are you all aware of the Americans with Disabilities Act? Just as a first point, okay? Scooters, not mobility accessible. Certainly not vision impaired accessible. E-bikes, same, not accessible. Autonomous vehicles, autonomous pods, whatever those might be. I challenge you to think about how those might be accessible. And what's in your hands right now is support of a public mass transportation system, the exact language from the more MARTA legislation, mass public transportation. That has to be accessible. That's in your hands to implement that. Or you can support a micro-mobility system that is not mobility or vision impaired accessible. Your choice. Other factors. How much time do I have left?
13 seconds.
Okay. So, again, we urge this group to consider the real facts. There's a lot of misinformation out there about losing trees and cutting the width of the path in half and nasty rails or fences or children getting run over by trains. This is a grass bed system that
You're
will
over your
not
time, sir.
that will not add more paving and destroy our Beltline. This will make the Beltline
Thank
better.
you. You're over your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Michael Keith, please. You have 3 minutes. The time is on the screen.
Hi, I am somebody who lives right over in Old Fourth Ward, and I'm not on the side that's close to the grocery store. I'm on the other end, and for me, it takes about 45 minutes to walk just to get to the grocery store. If I need to get to that Kroger up there, and I don't drive. I haven't driven in many years, and it makes me really upset that we're now in a place that there's a system that we've all democratically voted for, and we've said, let's build the system and let's build it quickly. And now all of a sudden there's an undemocratic special interest group that's coming in here and trying to fight that. And that just makes me really upset. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. That brings us to the end of our public comment, which takes us to our consent agenda. Mr. Overton, please sound the first reads, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item number 1, 24-01329, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute the Second Amendment Agreement to FC 9034 On-Street Parking Management Program with SNR All-in-One Joint Venture on behalf of the Department of Transportation to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis to begin on June 14th, 2024 through March 31st, 2025, to waive Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 4 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, insofar as it shall be necessary to authorize the actions authorized hereby and for other purposes. Item number 2, 24-01330, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee waiving the competitive source section requirements contained in Article 10, Division 4 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute agreements with the sanitation service provider. To authorize the mayor or his designee to execute agreements with sanitation service providers, security services, and other vendors necessary to support the City of Atlanta production of the 2024 Atlanta Streets Alive program through the end of fiscal year 2025. To authorize the mayor or his designee to execute agreements with program sponsors. To authorize all costs to be paid from all sponsored donations to be deposited into the Safety and Mobility Capital Finance Fund as listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 3, 24-01331, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee amending the FY 2024 capital budget for various capital funds in the aggregate amount of $3,464,578.09 to transfer appropriations from completed, canceled, realigned, or postponed projects at Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for other purposes.
Mr. Overton, sorry, excuse me. Just to correct the record, I have $3,464,587.09.
That was my mistake. I apologize.
Thank you.
That brings us to item number 4, 24-01332, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee to amend certain funds and budgets listed herein by transferring to and from appropriations a total amount of $89,976,740.00 for reimbursement of the Aviation Encumbrance Program and for other purposes. Item number 5, 24-01333, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to accept grant award funds from the Georgia Department of Transportation for construction services for the Spring Street Viaduct Replacement Bridge Project Phase 2 to amend the fiscal year 2024 intergovernmental grant fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations in the amount of $3,935,765.53 to extend the term of the construction agreement between the Atlanta Department of Transportation and the Georgia Department of Transportation for project number listed herein through the final acceptance of work with substantial completion to occur on or before April 25th, 2025. All contractor work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 6, 24-01334, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee to amend certain funds and budgets listed herein by transferring to and from appropriations in a total amount of $37,600,630.00 for reimbursement of the Airport Renewal and Extension Fund and the 2019 D Airport PFC and Sub-Lane Revenue Bond Fund, and for other purposes. Item number 7, 24-01335, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee establishing the fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by transferring to and from appropriations in the amount of $227,457,524.00 to provide funding for various projects at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for other purposes. Item number 8, 24-01336, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee to ratify the City of Atlanta's submission of an application for the fiscal year 2024 U.S. Department of Transportation Safe Streets and Roads for All Implementation Grant in an amount not to exceed $15,000,000 to be utilized for the implementation of Vision Zero Action Plan if awarded, to accept such funding, and to enter into any necessary agreements for grant participation and implementation and for other purposes. And item number 9, 24-01337, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to exercise the final renewal option for FC 9878, construction project management software system with eBuilder Incorporated on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation for a term of 1 year, retroactively effective May 31st, 2024 through May 30th, 2025, and an amount not to exceed $388,949.14, with all contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Thank you, sir. As you catch your breath, take a sip of water. We have been joined by my colleague, Councilmember Dozier. That is all of the first reads, which bring us to our regular agenda. If you're ready to get back at it, please sound the caption.
Ordinances for second read. Item number 10, 24-01294, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee to authorize the mayor or his designee to waive Chapter 150-401D, Traffic and Vehicles of the Atlanta City Code of Ordinances, to extend the existing shareable dockless mobility device annual permits for no more than 1 year, effective July 1st, 2024, and for other purposes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The item is favorable. Before we move forward, I'd also like to announce a work session that will be done on dockless mobility scheduled for 6/18, June 18th at 1 p.m. here in this room. So for all those that are interested, it'll really be an informational session led by ADOT, just talking about where we are and how and where we are going when we come to dockless mobility. So if that interests you, I see you on 6/18 at 1 p.m. Sound the next item.
Item number 11, 24-01307. Mr. Chair, there is a request to amend this item. The amendment adds language that specifies which portion of Westmore Drive will have no parking signs installed.
Motion to amend. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Amended item is before us. Motion to approve.
May I read the
you had to
caption
sign
for
the
the
caption.
Item number 11, 24-01307, an ordinance by Councilmember Byron D. Amos as amended by the Transportation Committee requesting that the mayor or his designee install no parking signs on the south side of Westmore Drive Northwest from Ollie Street Northwest to the end of Westmore Drive, to restrict parking on Westmore Drive Northwest, to waive the City Code Section 150-92 of the Atlanta City Code of Ordinances, and for other purposes.
Before we move forward, there is one question, and I guess this would be legal. Should this be an ordinance or, a resolution or ordinance?
I'm going to ask my colleague, Stephanie Grant, to answer that question. Okay, let me take a look at it. I'll give you just 1 second, please.
So until we get that answer, let's skip that one. Let's pause that one because we don't have a motion on the floor yet, and we can go into resolutions and come back to that one.
Item number 13, 24R, I'm sorry, item number 12, my apologies, 24R 3669. Mr. Chair, there is a request to substitute this item. The substitute edits and changes the street for which the traffic calming devices will be installed and does change the caption.
Motion to substitute. Second. Motion been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The substitute item is before us. Please sound the caption.
Item number 12, 24R 3669, a resolution by council members Andrea L. Boone and Michael Julian Bond as substituted by the Transportation Committee requesting the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on West Ontario Drive Southwest in order to reduce speeding and for other purposes.
Motion to approve. Motion been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Next item, please.
For the record, that item was the first of our resolutions. Item number 13, 24R 3693, a resolution by the Transportation Committee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to amend Resolution 23R 4551, adopted by the Atlanta City Council on January 8th, 2024, and approved by operational law on January 17th, 2024, by adding additional account strings for contract numbers listed herein to the intersection improvement projects on Moores Mill Road at 2 locations. All other parts of the legislation remain unchanged and for other purposes.
Motion to approve. Second. Motion made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Next,
Next item, item number 14, 24R 3694, a resolution by the Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into an amendment to Agreement FC 9038 with Final Touch Shoes LLC to reduce the leased premises at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for other purposes.
motion to approve. Motion made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Next item.
Next item, item number 15, 24R 3695, a resolution by the Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an amendment to a contract number listed herein for noise insulation program miscellaneous properties at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with SNL Specialty Contracting Incorporated in an initial amount of $100,000.00 for fiscal year 2025 on behalf of the Department of Aviation. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Mr. Chair, there is a request to hold this item. Although the initial amount of this project is $100,000, the total value of the work exceeds $1 million. As such, pursuant to Atlanta City Charter Article 8-107, an IPA report is needed.
Motion to hold. Motion is made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item will be held. Next item.
Next item, item number 16, 24R 3696, a resolution by the Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor to execute agreements with an ATL Infrastructure Partners, a joint venture comprised of ACOM Technical Services Incorporated and Infrastructure Engineering Incorporated, and Atlanta Civil Partners, a joint venture comprised of Prime Engineering Incorporated and Atkins Realis USA Incorporated and Graham Associates Incorporated for project number listed herein, large civil engineering services at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in an initial amount not to exceed $100,000.00. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Mr. Chair, there is a request to amend this item. The amendment attaches the IPA report.
Motion to amend. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The amended item is before us. Since it didn't change the caption, no need to sign it again. Before I make a motion to approve, is there any questions since we have the iPro report? None. Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The item is favorable. That moves us to our dual referral items, in which there are none. That moves us to our papers held in committee, in which there are none, which brings us back to item number 11. Do we have an answer from the law department?
It's my understanding. Vivica Brown, City of Atlanta Department of Law. Insofar as 150-92 needs to be waived to install the traffic calming device, it needs to be an ordinance.
So with that being said, I make a motion to approve. Motion has been made and second, but I do see a discussion.
Thank you. Yeah. So what specifically are we waiving? What provision within that?
And so I'm waiting for my colleague to come down and talk to you specifically about the details of that.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I just want to know like what process we're waiving, just so that there's full transparency on it. I'm good with the no parking signs, Judge.
Good morning, Stephanie Grant from the Law Department. May I understand what the question is, please?
So this is an ordinance rather than a resolution, simply because we are waiving a code section here, 150-92, and I just wanted to understand what part of that we're waiving, because it doesn't say in the legislation, it just says we're waiving it.
I apologize, Councilmember Juan. I don't have the full text in front of me. However, typically, the reason that we use an ordinance to install these types of traffic calming devices is because there is a particular portion of the code that says that has to deal with a particular width of the street. And when you are removing parking and you exceed that width of the street, you need to waive the particular code section that requires that street width.
Okay.
I apologize that I don't have the exact details, but if someone from the department can tell me what the issue is, I believe that would answer the question.
No, that makes sense. I just want to make sure it wasn't like any sort of notice or technical requirement, but that makes sense to me. Mr. Chair, I'm good with this.
Okay. Thank you. There's a motion on the floor that has been made and second. Please open the vote. Councilmember Faroki.
Vote is open.
Thank you. The item is favorable. That brings us to the end of our legislative agenda. If there's no general comments, announcements, or concerns, seeing none, stand adjourned. Thank you.
Anita.